Hi there, this is Rebecca Stark, and I am popping in here to do one of my DNF videos. Last week I did one of these videos out on my patio, and I said one of these days we have to do this with the sunset in the background, and it's not quite sunset, but you can see the skies behind me, and hopefully we'll see a little bit of a shift in the skies as they go along. And as the evening progresses. So, what are we going to do today? So I'm out here and I don't have a book with me, so I will be doing a verse, actually 2 verses today from memory, and we're going to go into the book of Galatians. These are fairly well-known verses. A lot of people have heard of these, know these well, and they're the fruits of the Spirit. So it's Galatians 5 verses 24 to 25. And the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And verse 25 ends with this very interesting statement of, against such things there is no law. Which is a true statement, but it's just interesting that we have to make that statement. Oh, you know, that there's no law against those just delightful fruits. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. All good things, all things that I want in my life. Sorry, I'm seeing there's Dolly is over there poking her head around and sniffing in the garden. So fruit of the Spirit means that if you have the Spirit dwelling within you, these are things that you can expect to have. And why am I talking about fruit of the Spirit? Why am I talking about these verses in my DNF? Well, let's see. What's the opposite of fear? Love. Yeah, faith. I don't think it's possible to be in fear and joyful at the same time. Love, joy, peace, patience. We've talked about patience and how patience is difficult, can be tied. If we're waiting for something, we can either be patient or we can be challenged, anxious as we wait for something. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. I don't know how easy it is to be kind when you're afraid. Gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. I think I have faithfulness in there twice. Anyways. You know what I'm getting at, hopefully. So just a little bit about my own story and why I find peace in Jesus Christ and why God is my God. I dabbled. I definitely explored other faiths. I was baptized and confirmed when I was in 8th grade, so I was a young teenager, and baptized and confirmed because I had been born into a Mormon family, and in the Mormon faith, they don't do infant baptism. They let the kids they baptize the kids when the kids are old enough to profess their faith, just anywhere between I think 8 and 10 years old. I'm not quite certain because we fortunately had left the Mormon faith by that time. And then I was in a family that was predominantly Catholic. We explored, we tried different churches. But when I was in 8th grade, we moved from Minneapolis to Chicago, and a good friend of the family was the pastor at a Presbyterian church. So I joined the Presbyterian church and the youth group in time for confirmation. So I went through the confirmation class, and in order to be confirmed, you have to be baptized first. So I was confirmed, baptized and confirmed, at the end of 8th grade. But I didn't really stick with faith. In fact, the very next year I was in high school, and I didn't really want to hang out with my church friends because I didn't think they were cool, and I wanted to be cool. Truth. So I think we continued to go to church, but I wouldn't say I was really a faithful Christian for most of my teens. And I moved again between my sophomore and junior year of high school to live with my mom. There's a lot behind that. It's quite a story, but let's just say I wasn't behaving well, and my dad and my stepmom at that point said, "Why don't you go live with your mom?" And I did. And things did not necessarily get better. And I shared before that my stepfather had committed suicide when I was 19. And that is when I met a young man who was very influential and very supportive. He actually had also suffered. He was a survivor of a suicide. His brother had committed suicide. And we went to church together. And I leaned on him, and through that relationship, I decided to convert to Catholicism. So I went through what's known as the rite of Christian initiation of adults when I was 20. I think I was officially baptized when I was 20, or not baptized, but confirmed in the Catholic Church at 20. But again, I call my relationship with God a little bit of a dance, because I'd be there and be engaged, and then I'd kind of wander away and explore other things, and then I'd come back. So my 20s was definitely an exploration of faith, spirituality, but not necessarily faith in God, not necessarily faith in Jesus Christ. So then comes in the story that I had shared with you. So my mother, there was about 11 years between my stepfather dying and then my mother dying. And after my mom died, I actually decided to move back to Colorado, where my mom had been living. So it was kind of an irony that I moved back to Denver, even though my mom wasn't there anymore. And I went to Colorado State University to earn my master's degree. And that's where I picked up the Bible that you'll see me hold sometimes. And that's when I found, and it didn't happen right away, and it wasn't because of that Bible, but because of that Bible, so I met my husband, and he took me to his family's church, and that pastor had memorized Bible verses, and the Bible verses, the version of the Bible that he memorized was the Bible that I picked up at Colorado State University. So a little bit of a coincidence, a little bit of a, that's interesting. And then just some aspects about my husband and my relationship, and things that we didn't expect that kind of popped up, but ultimately brought us together and kept us closer together. So why Jesus? Because I do find peace with Jesus. I do have peace. That fear that I experienced when I was younger isn't in my life anymore. And I contribute that to my faith in Jesus. Because I have faith in Jesus, I don't have debilitating fear. I don't have these fears that hover over me that I did when I was younger. In fact, I can say that I enjoy the fruit of the Spirit. I do on a regular basis experience love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness. And I don't know why I'm forgetting that second F. And goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. those are all things that I would say I experience on a fairly regular basis. So that's a little bit about my faith and where I come from. I've tried different things. You're welcome to try different things too. I'm not the one who's going to say my way or the highway. But in my experience, I have peace with Jesus. And that's a pretty important thing. That's a big thing. So I hope you have peace in your life, wherever you are, whatever it is you're facing. I hope you take the time to read the Bible and to dive a little bit deeper and ask questions. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me. I'm not going to pretend to know everything I've said before. I'm not a theologian. I'm just sharing my own experience and my own foray into the Bible. So thank you for popping in. Thank you for joining me. We might have to try and do, actually, I'm going to pan the camera over there because I think we are getting, there's some good colors, and Dolly again. All right, thanks for joining in. Have a good evening.